Hi everybody, welcome to another tutorial from Sound for More. It's Leo speaking. Today I'm going to start to go through how Animoog Z works, all the different controls, how everything can be set up. Before I start, I would like to remind my viewers to subscribe, as it really helps with growing the channel. And if indeed you have some suggestions as well, please do leave me a comment and I will pick them up from there. Okay, so I'm running Animoog Z as a standalone app, but it can be run inside a host like Cubasis free and Track Pro or AUM as an AUV3 instance. And indeed, it can be run as an AUV3 instance, as a synth, but also as an effect, as I will show you inside another tutorial, which is coming. So, first of all, let's select a preset, which is called default. And if you don't have it selected, go up here, click there where it will show you the list of presets, and then scroll up and down until you find the default and click on it. You can also, in this view, make a preset your favorite, clicking on the star. You can edit it if it is a user preset. You can also delete it if it is a user preset. And this is where you can group presets, and also you have tags which can be associated to presets. So for example, if you click on pads, it will show you everything that is related to pads. You click on it again to actually exit them. So let's click on default, and then let's click on the up here again on the default name to close that window. When you open Animoog Z, you have these wave cube representation. You can see it is a cube which inside has a path, which I will explain in other tutorials. And when you play a key on the keyboard at the bottom, you see these comets which are animated around the different paths. And indeed, if you double click on each of the X, Y, and Z amount, and then you play again a note, you will see that the comet will follow the path on the screen. And I will show you in future tutorials how you can edit that path, how you can actually change the animation, etc., etc. So, before I go any further, Animoog Z is an extension of Animoog, the famous Animoog, and it has been 10 years. So it's the 10 years anniversary for Animoog. And Animoog had an anisotropic synthesis engine at the core of it. And Animoog Z is an extension of that, which brings these nice visualization that you can see on the screen. But then you also have the addition of the famous Moog subtractive synthesis like envelope LFMO, modulation effects, etc., etc. If you click and hold on the screen, you can move that path. Okay. If you use 2 fingers on the screen, you can change that orientation of the cube. And indeed, I take advantage of that to show you that there are here vertically 8 rows, which represent 8 timbres. And for each timbres, you have 16 waveforms. And indeed, the Animoog and Animoog Z are effectively a concept of using dynamic waveform and vector synthesis. So, and that's the beauty of it. Here you see a module for path and also a module for orbit, which we'll go through in more details in the next tutorials. At the bottom here, you see the classical keyboard, which you have probably seen in Animoog as well. So you have a key spacer here, so you click and you can extend or you can zoom in or extend the, if you like, the space between the keys, or you can actually extend the view or minimize the spaces between the different keys. And of course, at the bottom, you can use your fingers or mouse in this case to play the preset you have selected. And as you can see, it is polyphonic set at the moment, so you see different comments following the path. Okay, here you have a modulation wheel, and if you listen, it doesn't make any difference at the moment. And the reason for it is because there's nothing associated with the modulation wheel at the moment. The other thing that you see here is if you click and hold and move up, you can change the pressure. And if you go here on this menu for modulation, you can see the first modulation is enabled. It goes by pressure, and it has a destination of filter, and it is changing the frequency cutoff. So as an example, if you were to change that pressure there to modulation wheel, you will find now that changing the modulation wheel settings here will have the same effect that was happening a moment ago when I was changing the pressure and therefore changing the frequency cutoff. So let's try. Okay, so you can see how easy it is to actually change modulation. Let's go back to the orbs view. Here you have a pitch bend, pretty standard. Then on the right hand side you have a control for volume. And then here you have pitch correction. So just pay attention, click and hold on a note and move to the right or to the left. Now let's change these to roughly 50%. So you can hear that the correction, the pitch correction changes. And let's set that to 0 now, and let's listen again. So you can hear the difference pitch correction based on the dial settings. Let's double click on it to set it back to the default. The other thing as well, you have here a glide control. So let me show you. Click and hold the note and then move it up while you hold that note. So you hear straight away what it does. And you can change the glide or portamento. Try again. Okay, so hopefully that is straightforward. Next, we have a hold button, which does what it says, hold note. Perfect. By the way, the sound of Animoog is really, really nice. You have an ARP button, click and hold. So the arpeggio is activated. Let me show you where the arpeggio settings are. You need to go on effects. Then here on the left you have arpeggiato. So let's click and hold another note again. And you see the notes here on this display for the arpeggio. You can set different octave. Up to 3. You can see the display changes accordingly. Let's go back to 1 octave. You can change the division. You can change the gate, so how open it is one note to the next. And you can see also the notes length changing on the display. Okay. Set back to normal. You can have latch, which is really nice, which is different from hold. So you can press some notes and then you can let go and press again, for example, on another chord, and it will play only that new chord. You can change the order up and down. You can go by the order you press notes. you can go for random. The interesting thing is you can disable it from there. As you can see, the ARP has been disabled down here. And you can re-enable it from there. So it is enabled here. You can click down here to disable it again. Okay, let's go back to the orbs view. Next, what I want to show you is the scale. So let's click on scale. What you see here is the selection of the scale which is active on your keyboard. So the first thing that you can do is change in the root note. So let's go back to, or change it to a C. Then you can change the type of scale. For example, let's go for minor pentatonic. You can decide to lock the scale. So when you change preset, the scale will be locked, and that's up to you. You can also change the scale, including some notes, just clicking on the keyboard, like so, which is really nice. You can set it to be polyphonic or monophonic. Polyphonic, you have two choices, 4 voices or 16 voices. You can have it, of course, monophonic. And pay attention as I'm trying to sustain some notes. And now let me show you what happens when I have legato on. And legato acts on the envelopes of the previous note when you're pressing the next one, which keeps that envelope on the sustain active, which gives you that effect of legato, which is really nice. So let's set it back to 16 voices. Here you can change the bass frequency, so for your tuning. Or just double click to go back to 440 Hz. Next, you have choose selection, envelope reset, which will allow you to reset the envelope when a note is on its release stage of the ADSR. And to hear that effect, you probably need to have a long release and set it to monophonic, and then you will hear that the envelope will reset or not based on this setting. And lastly, you have a phase reset, which will force the anisotropic synthesis engine oscillators to restart the phase when you press different keys and you activate different voices. Okay, so let's click on scale again and we go back to the initial screen. I hope you enjoyed this first tutorial, and I look forward to go through the next one where we start to look at the path and orbit modules and how to create different paths on the screen and create the animation, which is at the heart of this synth engine. Okay, see you next time. Bye.